rise and shine.
Rise and shine, chop chop.
Rise and shine.
Rise and shine, it's a beautiful day.
Rise and shine, rise and shine.
Rise and shine.
Rise and shine.
You guys are nerds.
This is exactly what the nerds want.
Our name shall become legend, spoken in hushed tones by nerds across the galaxy.
If you build it, nerds will come.
Nerds must love this place.
They think we're a bunch of nerds, and I'll tell you something, I think they're right.
Let the nerds take over.
Let the nerds take over.
Rise and shine, nerds. We hope you got your coffee because it's time for our brand new morning show for Love Thy Nerd and anyone who finds themselves at the cross section of nerd culture and church culture. I'm Radio Matt. I'm the director of content and resources for Love Thy Nerd.
And I'm Deidra, and my favorite Pixar movie is Cars 2.
Later in the show, we're celebrating nerdiness year by year. But first, Deidra and I have been married for 18 years, so that means we're pretty much the perfect couple.
That's right.
So we're going to help other married couples solve their weird problems.
Here's a story from the subreddit known by the acronym AITA, but since we're watching our profanity on this Christian nerd podcast thingy, we'll call this Am I the Jerk?
Tad Hall says that was a lie. Deidra doesn't have favorites.
This is true.
You're right.
That's definitely not that movie.
All right. Here's the question. Am I the jerk for making my wife feel bad about her Father's Day gift for me? All right, here's the story.
Is that to me? I feel terrible at Father's Day gifts, so that feels a little hurtful.
No, you'll feel better about it after this. Right? So here's what happened. My wife, 29 female, and I, 29 male, have a 1-year-old son. Let's call him James. And he's a handful, but we love him more than anything. Just a little backstory, but I used to be kind of trashy, so she used to call it. In the sense that I had a mullet and I wore pit vipers all the time. Picture that what Theo Von looks like. That's the kind of look I was looking like before. Well, I got rid of the mullet, and now I just wear vipers because I think they're cool. Aside from that, we both currently work full-time, and I'm also a full-time student. My wife decided to tell me last week that she set up a surprise for me for Father's Day and said, I set up a photo shoot for you and James to take pictures together to make it like a trashy photo shoot. I love this idea because inside I still feel like I'm that person. She said she wanted to set it up like both of us on a lawnmower, make it look like a hick dad holding his kid who is also wearing baby vipers. Those are sunglasses, I think. Those like sharp edge kind of looking sunglasses. Uh-huh. The idea is hilarious to me and I'm all for it. Well, the person who is doing the photos is my coworker, and my wife is also friends with her. Let's call her Katie. I found out about the photos, and my wife said, talk to Katie and set up a date. And I said, okay, but I also thought she planned it already. I asked how much they would cost, and she said she wasn't sure, so I had to ask about the price too. So I just said, okay, and I found a date that we were free. My wife knows the date planned. We didn't get a time yet at that moment. I asked my wife yesterday when the baby vipers would arrive in the mail because the pictures are next week. She said she never ordered them. So I said, oh, well, I guess I'll order them. And she said, no, it's fine. I'll just order them. Today, my wife asked me what time the photo shoot is next week with Katie. And I said, I'm not sure. I thought you were planning it for me. She said she doesn't know my schedule, which is a lie because we both write out our schedules on a calendar in the kitchen. I also have a set work schedule 3 days a week. I work in a hospital, so I work 3 12-hour shifts, and I go to school every Monday and Wednesday. Tuesday and Saturdays, I have off. She knows this, as my schedule hasn't changed in a few months. I told her I would figure out a time, and she said, no, it's fine. I'll just handle it. I told her, for something you wanted to surprise me with for Father's Day, it really feels like I'm just planning the whole thing. She got mad and said, wow, I must be the worst wife ever. I'll try to do better from now on since I'm so horrible. She told me I was being a jerk, and now she isn't talking to me. I just felt like this was meant to be a surprise for me, and I'm literally just planning all of it. And I just would have felt nice to be surprised in some way about it instead of having to essentially plan my own present. Am I the jerk for making my wife upset about my gift? So Trombone Dalek says right there. So it sounds like the wife didn't actually set up anything she only had the idea.
Right. Yeah. I have a great idea.
Mosaic said there's more going on there. Almost certainly. With any of these MID AITA things, you're only getting one side of the story, so you never really know. But if we're just going based on this information,
she's
maybe she's a little bit.
Sorry, lady, but I feel you.
Like,
As
I don't feel
mom,
like, yeah,
I understand.
I don't feel like she is intentionally being a jerk. I feel like she just kind of slacked a little in actually doing this, because if it's a gift for somebody else,
it sounds like she was maybe going to plan it more, but then like now that he found out about it, she was just like, you do it.
Yeah, I guess that's the problem. Is why did she tell him?
Yeah, it seemed like
before Father's Day.
Oh, she decided to tell me last week. She set up a surprise for me.
Yeah, but then she hadn't actually set it up.
But then she hadn't done anything. Yeah. So. Oh, great. When is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you get the stuff? No.
I don't feel like he's being a jerk. I feel like the statement that he made, if he made it in that way, if he made it as he said,
sounds like I'm doing
is
everything.
A reasonable thing. It's like just to speak my truth here. I feel like I'm planning my entire present. Trombone Dalek.
Trombone Dalek. It would have been better to say, "Hey, I have an awesome Father's Day idea for you, but I need help organizing and executing it for you." Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not I planned this for you because you didn't.
Right.
I had this idea.
Good morning, Joshua.
Yo.
Yeah. I don't feel like she was maliciously being lazy or anything. I just feel like she let the cat out of the bag too soon, and then assumed it was okay. Now we're going to joint make this thing happen.
Right.
And both of them were both kind of assuming the other one was doing XYZ for this process.
Right.
When I feel like he had the right, not malicious, but miscommunications, right? I feel like he had a reasonable
thought
process, and like, okay, she told me about this, she'll be doing it,
right?
And maybe that should have been brought up beforehand by. I feel like at the first sign of it, when you're like, all right, why don't you call Katie and set up a date? He should have had the thought of, okay, is any of this planned out yet, or do I need to? Like, I should have offered to help at that point. Should I help? Do I need to do any of the other stuff to get this set up?
Maybe she was just really excited. She had just had the idea, and she was like, couldn't wait to tell him, and so she was like,
yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah,
I can believe that. So I just. I don't think there are any jerks in this situation. And, I would say that she was a little jerky in her defense, but I feel like anybody would respond that way immediately if they felt like, well, it was my idea, and now you're saying you don't like it, essentially. I get it. I think all of this is both have a reasonable response to what's happening here. But I think, like Trombone said, this is just a bunch of miscommunications in a way.
Right.
Yeah.
But I failed you last year with the Father's Day gift. Was it last year? Has it been 2 years? Oh my goodness.
What are you talking about?
I had the kids make this really cool.
It's only been a year.
Okay. Well, that makes me feel a little better.
But you also didn't finish it this year. So
I know.
It will be 2 years.
I know. I looked at it the other day. I was like, I had the kids make this really cool collage thing.
Collage kind of frame. Not a frame per se, but it was it was supposed to have a clip to put a picture in the middle of, but like a really cool, nerdy kind of circle collage thing.
I mean, we went to Hobby Lobby. We picked out the stickers, picked out the little items to put on it, had a fun time putting it together, and I have yet to get a picture printed to go.
Well, you haven't put a clip on it either, because we have pictures floating around.
I can put a picture on it. Just give me a clip.
Just waiting for something to hold the picture. Yeah. And so, I've been waiting. Now I haven't done it for you. I could have super glued a clip on there at some point, but I'm like, this is her gift to me for Father's Day. So I kind of get this guy thinking, like, why am I playing in this thing?
Why am I
This
doing
is my
the rest
present.
of this?
So it sits on our counter waiting for the day that it will hold the photo.
Yes. Well, see, you're making me feel better because I thought I had to like get a picture. So
I mean, I would like you to at least.
Yeah.
I mean, we have pictures. Mm-hmm. Choose a good one. Mm-hmm. Don't make me choose the photo. Choose a good one of our kids.
I had gone as far as taking a picture. This was after we gave you the gift because it was for 4th of July. So it was like after Father's Day, and we were like, oh, I need to get a picture together. And I had taken a picture of the 3 kids in their 4th of July get-up, but then I just never got it printed. It's on my phone, but now it's like it's been another year.
Right,
so now I gotta get get an updated one. It's a vicious cycle. I'm gonna do it. We're gonna take a break for 3 weeks from our show, and when we come back,
it's gonna be done.
It will be done.
I will hold my breath. All right, we're going to stop it right there and take our first break.
But when we come back, we've got today's nerdy news story.
This week in Nerd History, July 10th through the 16th.
July 10th.
On or about July 10th, 1934, Famous Funnies #1 was published. This groundbreaking comic book series featured popular comic strip characters such as Mutt and Jeff, Buck Rogers, and Invisible Scarlet O'Neal, and it's widely considered to be the first regularly published comic book. On July 10th, 2015, Minions released in theaters. In this animated film, 3 adventurous yellow creatures named Kevin, Stuart, and Bob travel across the world to find a new evil master and end up working for Scarlet Overkill, the first female supervillain who plans to steal the British crown.
July 11th.
On July 11th, 1985, after facing a nationwide backlash from loyal customers who rejected the sweeter taste of new Coke, Coca-Cola announced that it would bring back its original formula, which had been locked away in a bank vault. On July 11th, 1993, Street Fighter II Turbo released in arcades. It's a fast-paced fighting game that introduces new special moves and alternate colors for the iconic characters of the Street Fighter series. On July 11th, 2013, Sharknado released. This sci-fi comedy disaster film depicts a freak storm that unleashes deadly sharks on Los Angeles and other cities. Also on July 11th, 2013, WWE launched its Performance Center in Orlando, Florida, a 26,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility that offers comprehensive training, sports science, and production services for its talent.
July 12th.
On July 12th, 2008, Monk premiered on USA. This comedy drama TV series follows the adventures of Adrian Monk, a brilliant but obsessive-compulsive detective who helps the San Francisco police solve crimes.
July 14th.
On July 14th, 2000, X-Men released in theaters. This superhero movie tells the story of a group of mutants with extraordinary powers who fight against a radical faction that wants to start a war between humans and mutants.
July 15th.
On July 15th, 1996, Kenan and Kel premiered. This comedy show aired on Nickelodeon from 96 to 2000, starring Kenan Thompson and Kel Mitchell as 2 best friends who get into hilarious trouble, often involving Kel's love for orange soda. On July 15th, 2002, WCW's Eric Bischoff shocked the wrestling world when he appeared on WWE Monday Night Raw as the new general manager of the show, shaking hands with his former rival, Vince McMahon. On July 15th, 2003, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic released on Xbox. This role-playing video game lets the player create their own character and choose their alignment with the light or dark side of the Force as they explore a galaxy in turmoil 4,000 years before the rise of the Galactic Empire. On July 15th, 2006, Twitter launched to the public. This social media platform allows users to post and read short messages known as tweets. It was created by a podcasting company named Odeo. On July 15th, 2016, Stranger Things premiered on Netflix. This sci-fi horror series introduced viewers to a mysterious world of monsters, psychic powers, and government conspiracies set in 1980s Hawkins, Indiana. Also on July 15th, 2016, Ghostbusters released in theaters. This reboot of the 1984 comedy classic features a new team of female paranormal investigators who face a ghost invasion of Manhattan and a sinister plot to unleash the apocalypse.
July 16th.
On July 16th, 2004, Stargate Atlantis premiered. This sci-fi TV series is about an international team of explorers who use a Stargate to travel to the Pegasus Galaxy and discover the lost city of Atlantis. And finally, also on July 16, 2004, I, Robot premiered. This sci-fi film stars Will Smith as a detective who investigates a murder that may have been committed by a robot in a futuristic Chicago. For more nerdy facts about the topics we shared today, find our companion article for this week on lovethynerd.com. I'm Radio Matt, and I'll see you next time for more
Nerd History.
To Rise and Shine Nerds, LTN's brand new morning show, and there are 4 ways that you can experience our show. We know you can't always catch the show when it premieres, and while it's a personal insult to us, we've got you covered. You can subscribe to our podcast. Just search Rise and Shine Nerds on your favorite podcast app. And of course, all of our videos are available on the YouTube channel anytime after they premiere. Let's talk about Threads. Have you heard about Threads yet, Deidra?
No.
Threads is Facebook's answer to Twitter.
Okay. Still
in its early stages and very simple. You can't even post GIFs yet in response to things. Okay. You can't direct message people yet. 30 million people, though, joined in the first 24 hours.
Holy cow.
But if you are going to sign up for Threads, you better make sure that you want to. Here's why. Comes from TechCrunch.com. Threads, Meta's new social app, is drawing users in an astounding pace. It had the first 10 million signups in just 7 hours after launch. According to co-founder and chief executive Mark Zuckerberg, but the highly anticipated new service, which requires an Instagram account for onboarding, like you have to have an Instagram account to start.
Okay.
And then you can get a Threads account. Features an interesting stipulation. If you want to delete your Threads account, it will also delete your Instagram account.
Oh my goodness.
In a supplemental privacy policy, Meta explains you may deactivate your Threads profile at any time, but your Threads profile can only be deleted by deleting your Instagram account. Yeah, that's exactly what Trombone said here. You can. My understanding is that you can deactivate it, but not delete it since it's linked to your Instagram, and it's a subset of Instagram. Yes, but there's really no reason that should be the case. Because if you can have an Instagram account without a Threads account, then that means that they're not inherently linked to where both have to exist or none exist. You should be able to be like, no, never mind. Like, should throw it away. This feels like a way to inflate the numbers of users of Threads because people are going to be like, yeah, I'll check that out. And then they'll check it out. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be like, well, this is stupid. And they don't want to be on it anymore. But wait, I can't delete my account because all of my 8 years of Instagram photos are going to be gone.
Right.
It really gives me the same feeling as Google when they were doing the Google Plus thing that they were trying to take over Facebook. And they were like, to inflate our numbers, we're going to make it where if you want to be on YouTube, you have to have a Google Plus account. If you want to have an account on YouTube at all, if you're a creator or just want to comment, any of it, you have to have a Google Plus account. It was underhanded and scammy feeling, and this has that exact same feel to it. So, I don't know. It looks fine. There's a few hiccups it's had already that make me feel like it's not really going to be
Does that mean you have one?
than Twitter. Oh, yeah. Bubba, who was also leading the charge on Google Plus too when it came out, he was like all for it. He's like, "You want to be in my circles?" You know, just all over it. He leapt on Threads immediately, posted a thing like, let's make this a thing. It's on his phone in the bottom bar where you keep all the things you do, like immediately.
Okay.
A fan of it. And so I'm like, all right, well, sure. I've posted 4 things, I think, on it, all within the same day. But yeah, it's here. And so we'll see.
I haven't even been on
killer.
Instagram probably in a decade.
In a decade?
Like, because I recall the last pictures, maybe once or twice since then, but being that when I got hit in the face with a Frisbee.
Oh, right.
So that was before we had kids. Eli's 9.
Wow.
Plus 9 months of pregnancy. Yeah, I would say a decade.
Like, I go on it maybe once or twice a month. I'm not on it a lot.
Yeah.
Mainly because it's just become a crappier
I doubt
TikTok
I'm even
lately.
signed in my new phone to it.
Yeah, I bet not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't use social media all that much in general.
Yeah.
I use Facebook a lot, but only for like Love Thy Nerd stuff and church stuff, my jobs. I don't really post all that much personal stuff. Again, I feel like
terrible at posting now.
couple times a month, maybe.
Yeah.
Twitter is just barely hanging on for me, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like Bubba leads a lot of charges with passion, points to Gilded. Yes, he sure does. So I don't know if I'll be any more active on Threads. This is kind of like a fresh start. Who knows? Maybe, but we'll see. Let's move on to hospitals.
Okay.
This is a story of the BBC. Virtual reality headsets are now being used on hospital wards to help keep patients calm during procedures. A trial by Kidderminster Hospital saw soothing sounds and visuals from them used to cut stress and anxiety. In one case, VR was used to in place of sedation when a tube was inserted into a child's vein for blood sampling, staff said. So instead of sedating them at all, like no sedation whatsoever, they just put a headset on you and probably some earbuds. And
Wow.
you're just in a soothing
In
ravine.
another world as they poke your arm and get blood. How weird.
The Worcester Acute Hospitals NHS Trust says that they are now a permanent feature in its hospitals. Dawn Forbes, a nurse specialist, used the technology ahead of a blood test and MRI scan for a patient with a phobia of needles. She said it enabled the needle to be placed quickly without causing any pain or distress to the subject.
I mean, I feel like even if I'm in this virtual world, I'm still going to feel you poking me in the arm.
Right. But at the same time, when you're like in the moment, you're like staring at it. You're waiting for it. The fear's amping up.
Gotcha.
And you're going to feel every pinch of it because you're completely aware and in tune with it. To be completely distracted by, the virtual reality setting, pinching your arm, a bug got me, out here in this field. It's not going to be this traumatic experience. I feel like, because we're talking about, I took Johnny to the dentist. We have to go all the way to Albuquerque for his dentist. But their office has these giant TVs that hang over the chair and let you watch Disney Plus shows or whatever. And so Johnny, who is an incredibly nervous child, is lying down there, and they put on Puppy Dog Pals or whatever it was. He's glued to it and got through a lot of the procedure without even kind of noticing. Like, I know he notices his hands in his mouth, but like he's focused enough on the TV show and hearing what they're saying and all this that he's distracted enough that they can get it done. And the doctor told me there that normally that they can do that, like with cavities or whatever. Normally they can just put the TV on. They don't have to like numb the area or whatever to get it filled in for kids or sedate them even as much. And so I don't know. I feel like if it works, it works.
We talk about our kids being zombies. I have to pause the TV if I need to have a conversation with them. So That makes sense.
And I also have white coat syndrome. I get
You do.
super anxious at the beginning of doctor visits.
Yeah.
And so they'll take my blood pressure first thing in there, and it's always like, we got to get you to the hospital. I'm like, no, just give me 5 minutes, do it again, and it'll be normal. I just it happens every single time.
You walked in the room and I immediately freaked out.
Right.
I'm sorry.
So it's to the point. It's to the point. Like when I go, I want to go early to the doctor's appointment so I can put my earbuds in and play calming music and like do the breathing, like the slow breathing you do when you're having a panic attack or whatever. Just the in for 5 seconds, hold it for a few seconds, out through the mouth, slowly out, because I'm trying to calm myself down from this weird anxiety I'm having just from being at the doctor. And so if I had that, if I was just able to be in VR the whole time while they're checking me out or doing whatever they got to do to me,
Yeah.
I'd be good.
Yep.
Good to go.
Looks like Trombone Dalek has the same thing.
Last time I was at the doctor, they took my blood pressure twice, and they were like, "Oh, you weren't kidding. You really do have doctor anxiety." Yep. Yeah. Mosaic says that's one of the reasons I don't wear a lab coat for work. I've always found it weird that pharmacists wear lab coats anyway.
I don't understand the point of the lab coat, even for doctors.
I've never thought about it, but I think you're right. Is it just to make them appear, just so you know I'm the doctor?
Right.
Like, it's just not some guy
Like they
in his
probably
golf
had a
uniform
purpose
coming over.
way back when they started coming out. But what?
I don't know. Maybe it's just sanitary. Cover up the
Mosaic
cover up
fan
the
art.
normal
Do you know
clothes.
the purpose of the lab coat?
Tell us the purpose of a
Tell
lab
us.
coat.
Enlighten us.
The pharmadies would wear those young gun lab coats, long ones.
Yeah.
Long lab coats, the ones that go all the
Right.
way over all your clothes, like a trench coat.
Like down to your knees, probably. Yeah.
All right, well, let's take one more break. But when we get back, we're driving. I'm sorry, we got to stop right there. Mosaic Brenner says, I have no idea. No idea why they wear them. All right, let's take one more break. When we get back, we're driving and diving into our main topic, nerding out over the past. Searching the purpose of lab coats. I want to do that too. Purpose of lab coats on doctors. White coats are worn chiefly for easy recognition by colleagues and patients to put them in the pockets and to keep clothes clean. Put items in the pockets and keep clothes clean. So yeah, mainly just like I'm the doctor. Oh, that's crazy. Okay. I mean, they do have the nice big pockets.
Keep clothes clean. So, way back when, oh look, that's the exact
thing we're reading. Yeah.
Way back when they'd get blood all over their clothes, they wore the lab coat.
Yeah, right. Psychiatrists and pediatricians try to maximize rapport with patients by deliberately not wearing white coats. Yeah, I also feel like that's weird. It's like, and white symbolizes clean and purity. Yeah, it's like our church here. Our pastor Dean, when he first started, would wear a suit and tie every Sunday, and then one day, after, behind the scenes, them talking about it probably for months, but one day for most general people in the church, he showed up wearing jeans and a t-shirt, and we're like, what's happening? Because it's a bit disconcerting out of the blue. And so like when a doctor comes in to your checkup and he's not wearing the coat and it's just a dress shirt and slacks,
Are you
supposed to be here? Are we sharing rooms now? Are you another
qualified to see me? You're not wearing the coat. Did they not give you a coat because you didn't pass the coat course? What's going on?
Where's your degree? Is it from America? Okay. Trombone, thanks for that lurk and for that Google search. All right.
They were also warned to distinguish from the snake oil salesmen.
I mean, that back then, I guess that was proof. Welcome back to Rise and Shine Nerds, LTN's brand new morning show.
Before we jump into our main topic today, we've got an article recommendation. On Tuesday, Jake Thomas posted the final part of his 3-part series on gospel reflections from Guardians of the Galaxy 3, The Benevolent Hands That Guide Malevolent Hands, showing off how God can redeem anyone that has anything that has happened to us. You can find it on the homepage right now on lovethynerd.com.
This week, we are looking back at what we nerded out over in years gone by. Today, we're looking at 1987.
My birth year.
Let's get into it.
Woot.
Let's start with The Princess Bride.
That's the thing that happened really in 87. That was the best thing.
Deidra was born. The Princess Bride.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I can't get into this movie.
I know. Matt hates it.
I don't hate it. I just don't like it. I hate Lord of the Rings. I don't care for Princess Bride.
Princess Bride is the marriage is what brings us together.
Marriage!
Yeah. I like it okay, but I don't understand the
cult nature of it.
Yes. Yeah. Like,
especially among Christians. Like homeschoolers, especially.
That's like their favorite.
It's the weirdest
favorite thing. Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. On the opposite side for Christians anyway, Dirty Dancing also came out.
I remember the first time I watched this movie, and I was at a friend's house, and I knew that my mother would not like that I was watching this movie, but I watched it anyway. I was like, oh, it's called Dirty Dancing.
Mosaic Fan Art says Princess Bride is in his top 10 movies. He said it's in my top 10 movies of all time, but we were already talking about Dirty Dancing, so he had to make it clear. Princess Bride.
Princess Bride.
Dirty Dancing is not... I don't feel like it's one of those like all-time great movies, but it does have one of the most quoted lines of all time. Nobody puts baby in the corner.
Yeah.
Okay, Deidra, this one is for you. Hair crimping became a big thing in 1987. Wow.
Yeah, I had the straightener with the attachment crimper, like 3 different sizes you could do with the little you could do the teeny tiny, which is essentially
just making your hair into a zigzag. That's what it is. Because that's all it is. It was like little triangle teeth.
Yep.
So you make zigzag.
And you just burn your hair all the way down, just
ever so slightly.
I would spend hours crimping my hair. Yeah.
She was not crimping her hair at 1 year old, but it's still a thing. Well, I don't know if it's a thing now, but it was when we were teenagers.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen them now.
I don't think I've seen crimped hair in a while.
And before I got the crimper, we did when your hair's wet, do a bunch of braids, and then when you take the braids out, it's
right. Those watching will see my wife has straight hair right now. That's not normal. She normally has curly hair. It's been a while since she's had straight hair. So
I straightened it the other day, and I was like, man, I forgot how much I love my hair straighter than curlier. I've been embracing the curls for probably a year.
It's been a while, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed it. I love your curls.
Yeah. I like this better.
I wouldn't enjoy crimping. I would tell you to stop if you did it today. Spaceballs came out in 1987. The classic parody of Star Wars.
Wow.
From Mel Brooks.
Wow.
Freaking hilarious to this day. Love it. Lord Helmet. Combing the desert. Oh, man.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Collapses onto the floor. Lone Star. Yogurt. Mel Brooks played Yogurt.
Okay.
Yoda. Ripoff. Using the Schwartz.
Yeah.
Fighting with his rings. It's Pizza the Hut with his weird Max Headroom-esque sidekick. Oh, so good. Such a good movie.
So weird.
The alien scene at the end at the diner. after he ordered the soup. Like, what did you have? Soup? I'd like to change my order. And he did the hello, my baby, hello thing, the little alien that popped out.
I hated that.
So
that was
funny.
Gross.
It was so good. The whole thing, so good. The stunt doubles. All of it. So dang good. I'll go on forever. I love that. Ludicrous speed. You've gone to plaid. All right. Okay. I'm sorry. Such a good movie. U2's Joshua Tree album came out. Probably one of their most famous, if not the most famous album from U2. Had the hits Where the Streets Have No Name, With or Without You, Bullet the Blue Sky. I still haven't found what I'm looking for, which was recently featured as like the penultimate song in Sing 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. With the lion character that was played by Bono. Still haven't found what I'm looking for. Classic. Fantastic.
Gotcha.
Fantastic. Christian-inspired lyrics. Though not necessarily a Christian band. But anyway, really good stuff. I love U2, classic band. I choose to think of them only as they were in the 80s, not as they have become. Remember when iPod came out with... or was it iPhone? I think it was iPhone. iPhone came out, and they're like, let's just put a new U2 album on there that nobody wanted. And everyone's like, why did you do this to me? Why did you force me to own a U2 album? Okay, so we talked about yesterday, the Geraldo's Vault thing with not Geraldo's Vault. Al Capone's Vault that Geraldo Rivera was covering. So this was like the next evolution in watching the news all the time is Baby Jessica. Baby Jessica that fell down the well. Little 1.5-year-old girl fell down the well, and everybody was continuously watching the news for an update on Baby Jessica.
Wow.
So this came like in 3 stages. This whole news thing came in 3 stages.
So she was my age?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That had to be like my mom.
Well, a little older than you. Because you were born in 87. She was a year and a half old. But what did you say? Your mom...
probably was not liking that news story.
Oh, yeah, I'll bet. Yeah.
As a mother.
So the 3 stages were Al Capone's Vault, Baby Jessica, and then the O.J. Simpson trial in the early 90s. So those were the 3 big events that led to the news networks as we know them now. But yeah, Baby Jessica.
Wow.
I was just finding everybody watching, hoping for good news. It was, a similar feeling to the sub that went to see the Titanic here a couple weeks ago, where just everybody's just constantly checking the news. Are they going to find it in time? Air going to run out? All this kind of stuff. Like, it's a tough thing to watch. Scary stuff, because you always know in the back of your head that the most likely outcome is something bad.
Right.
And so,
right.
Yeah, it's tough. Mannequin came out, movie.
Okay.
That was a movie you introduced me to. Had you watched it several times before we were dating? Like, was this something you watched as a kid?
Yes. Okay. I believe that was one of the shows, when it aired on TV, my parents recorded it.
So it was like the censored version already? Yeah. Mannequin is it was fun. Both of the movies, there was a sequel to it too. They were fun.
There was.
They have the same kind of feeling as Short Circuit. They're like, this is dumb, but it's fun.
Yeah.
So sure.
Yeah.
It might as well happen. Let's just play. But it was about a store mannequin that came to life.
She was like back in the olden times.
That's right.
And got cursed.
That's right.
And was a mannequin throughout the ages, and then I think he had to kiss, like he kissed her.
He kissed the mannequin.
Kissed the mannequin, and she came to life. Yeah, and like every time you kissed her, she'd go back as a mannequin.
It was weird. It was such a weird premise. Movies had such weird premises back then, and they just like didn't care. Like we talked about Back to the Future. Back to the Future. One of the weirdest things is Marty McFly's best friend is this old disgraced scientist, and we never know why. Everyone was just like, okay, yeah, that makes sense to me. And we just watched the movie and we never questioned it. Like everything today, every movie that comes out today, we have to have every backstory, every inkling of how this happened. And if you don't explore it in the first movie, you better explore it in the second movie and start with the flashback of how it happened. And like it's back then we could just accept things. And so, yeah, of course, the lady got cursed, became a mannequin. Who cares that mannequins didn't exist at the time? That's how it happened. And now every time you kiss her, she trades back and forth between being a human and a mannequin again.
Maybe it was a necklace. That's what it was.
Was it a necklace? Okay.
It was
whatever the situation was. It was
I'm
silly.
sorry, fans of Mannequin. I had it wrong.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I did not get the lore correct. That doesn't make any
necklace,
sense.
She's a
You
mannequin.
kiss her back and
Take
forth.
it off. She's a human. Yeah. Duh.
Of course. Speaking of movies that don't age well, this one didn't age well right out the gate. It was Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. This was Christopher Reeve's last Superman movie, and it was terrible.
Is that why it was his?
It was so bad. I'm remembering the bad guy was like this sun god character. I think that might have been the third movie. Now I don't remember. Both of those last two movies were bad. But it was all about him basically. I think it was every nuclear weapon or every weapon of mass destruction. Superman like gathered them all up from every nation and hurled them out into space, into the sun. I think it was. And then there was like a courtroom scene and everything with Superman. I'm like, this is weird. This is not good.
This is not Superman.
So let's move on to a good movie. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Okay.
Steve Martin, John Candy. Such a good movie. Long butt movie. Also one of those movies that surprises you when you watch it for the first time when the only version you ever had before was one that you recorded off the TV.
Ooh, yeah.
There's a whole scene with about 80 F words in it that I did not know existed until I watched it on DVD.
Yeah. My only line I can really remember from that is, where's your hand? It's between two pillows.
Those are pillows? Oh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon came out. It's like the penultimate 90s version of the Ninja Turtles. That I think it lasted till about 96, but it started in 87. That's the version of the Ninja Turtles that we got the action figures from, those old bed sheets that everybody had every boy had as a kid my age. Like it's what led to the movies and the just the overall popularity with children. Like it was a very popular cartoon show back then. Also, DuckTales came out in 1987. DuckTales. Ooh, loved that show. Watched that religiously as a child. Love the new updated version that came out a few years ago. I thought they did a fantastic job on that one.
Get the boys to watch that again. They were watching it for a while.
Well, I mean, every episode has like a monster kind of. And so I think Johnny was a little too young to handle that intensity, but I bet they'd like it now. Good Morning, Miss Bliss.
I don't know what that one is.
You do. You just don't know that you do.
Okay.
Because this was the beginning of Saved by the Bell.
Okay. All right.
Good Morning, Miss Bliss was a show that was supposed to focus around this teacher, Miss Bliss, and then her interaction with her wacky bunch of students who were all the characters from Saved by the Bell.
Oh, okay.
But all the kids were so much more popular that they booted Miss Bliss, retooled it, and started it as Saved by the Bell later on.
Nobody likes you, Booster.
Which is why nobody wants you, Booster. We hate you, Booster. So yeah, Miss Bliss got the Booster treatment, got kicked out. But Saved by the Bell became a phenomenon in the early 90s, and so it was a good start.
Yeah. Street
Fighter, video game. Most popular version I feel like back then was actually the arcade version. Where you're fighting back and forth. That came out. back then, as well as WWF Superstars, the arcade version. Big 2D WWF wrestling game.
Okay.
Which you can still find in some old, gaming halls. Keep those old games around. It was a good first wrestling game. Tad, is that considered a real Mandela effect then? The Miss Bliss thing? Maybe. Saved by the Bell messed me up when I was watching it on TV for two reasons. One, when it first started, the intro video had clips of the students younger than was in the show.
Oh.
And so I'm like, I've seen this whole season how they've never been that young, and it's because it was from Miss Bliss. They were taking pictures from Miss Bliss, which I didn't know existed at the time. And then when it got to the later seasons where they're like tall teenagers and everything, they went back and changed the intro on all the old episodes to feature clips of them from every age. And so I would be watching one and it's showing him as a big teenager, and then he's like a little kid. I'm like, what's happening? How is this possible? Are they three different people? I don't get it. Like, it messed me up. I shouldn't have done that. And lastly on the list here, Star Trek The Next Generation, launched in 1987.
Wow.
You didn't realize it was in the 80s? I really thought it was like the early 90s.
Me too.
But yeah, it was 1987. Star Trek Next Generation kicked off with the Farpoint episode, right? Encounter at Farpoint. Where it was originally going to be just one normal episode, and they had that weird jellyfish creature thing. That was it. And then the studio's like, you know what? Let's make it a double-length kind of film-esque premiere. And so that's how we got Q. They came up with Q and added him to the mix and the whole judging humanity or whatever. And Q has become one of the most beloved characters in all of Star Trek.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We would watch every episode as it came out on the new Fox station in the dorm at college. Yeah. Next Generation is dang good. It wasn't Fox. What is he talking about? He's talking about Digimon.
Yeah. I think he's talking
He's talking about Digimon? Were you in college in 94? You were in college in 94. I don't know what we're talking about. Whatever you're talking about, we watched it. Did they... Because it was CBS, wasn't it? Star Trek's always been CBS.
I don't even know.
Yeah. Mosaic, tell us what you're talking about. Twitch chat, if you're listening and you don't know what we're talking about, we're talking about Twitch chat. Q is also the most beloved character in My Little Pony, but he renamed himself Discord. What the heck are you talking about? Okay, now we can't go anywhere, Tad. The show was almost over, and now I have to figure out what you're talking about.
Q in My Little Pony.
Okay, I got you. John Delancey, I don't know how to pronounce his name, is the voice of a character called Discord.
We did look it up.
My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic.
Okay.
And then it's inspired by his character Q from the 1980s. Okay, that's interesting. I'm going to need to watch a clip of that. That seems fun.
Weird.
All right. I never thought I'd say in my life, I need to watch a clip of My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. But now I will. Thank you, Ted. Well, let's go ahead and cap off the year right there. We'll be back tomorrow with a look at 1988. But as for today, we're out of coffee, so it's time to wrap things up.
But before we go, let's get our verse of the day. Today's verse is Proverbs 29:23. One's pride will bring him low, but he who is lowly in spirit will obtain honor.
And with that, our Wednesday show is coming to a close. Thank you for joining us for Rise and Shine Nerds. We want to invite you to get behind the scenes by joining our LT and Discord community. Once you've joined at lovethynerd.com/Discord, simply go to channels and roles and click on the Rise and Shine Nerds channel to gain access to it. You can help us plan shows and segments and even be on the show yourself on occasion. Subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app or through the Love Thy Nerd YouTube channel. And don't miss an episode. Trombone Dalek, thank you for cheering those bits. And tell us what you think of the show via our socials at Rise and Shine LTN on Facebook and Twitter. Once again, I'm Radio Matt.
I'm Deidra.
And as always, a reminder,
Jesus loves you, nerds.